Black boys made the wave, these boys don't make a splash. Greedy with a ball, I ain't passing that.
Yes, everybody, welcome back to Sick FC, the channel where we talk everything football. And today we're going to be talking about England-Norway World Cup quarter-final. England have confirmed their place in the semi-finals, and it was Jude Bellingham, the main man yet again. Now, we have to talk about Jude because before the tournament, there were people saying that Jude shouldn't even be in the squad. Craig Hope put out an article talking about how Jude Bellingham's such a divisive character that he doesn't even believe that he should be in the squad. Your apologies need to be as loud as your disrespect, because Jude Bellingham could be taking England to the World Cup. Now, obviously, when England have been in this tournament, everybody's looked at the performances, and it's very understandable when people don't feel confident. I mean, they haven't been playing swashbuckling football. It hasn't been perfect. This game against Norway was no different. Now, Norway do pose a big threat on the counter-attack with Erling Haaland, but overall, when you look through the teams, you should be expecting England to get through this game. And even though they did, it was an almighty struggle. So England actually ended up trailing this game with shoulder up, scoring a goal. Don't know if it was really a cross or a shot, but to me, it looked a bit like Pickford pulled his hand away from the ball, thinking it was going over the bar or going wide. Now, Pickford's been brilliant for England, been probably England's best keeper in tournament football ever. But in this tournament, he has not filled me with confidence at all. I mean, when he's on the ball, he's telling everyone else to calm down, but I think he's just telling himself, because honestly, he's been a bit shaky for me. I mean, the goal he conceded at his near post as well. He got a hand on the goal against Croatia, the first goal. He's not been filling me with confidence, but the ball goes in anyway. Norway lead, and from that point, they seemed to sit back a little bit, but they were dangerous on the counter-attack. They were quite dangerous on the counter-attack. And I don't know, I don't really feel like England managed the game very well. It was Rice and Anderson in midfield, and I thought Anderson had a really good performance, but Rice ended up coming off, and then Jude went from being in the 10 to being in the 8. But before that happened, Jude literally equalises. So the ball comes into the box, and he takes 2 or 3 really, really good touches close to his body, gets it out in front of him, and with his left foot, just powers it into the bottom corner. And that's what Jude is in the team for now. People can talk about, like, fancy players, and he's got beautiful technique, but he's still big and aggressive and has that physicality, and he's so hard to play against a player like that. And the best thing about Jude is his confidence for me. Like, of all the things that Bellingham brings to this team, he brings that starman energy. Like, every single team that's looking to win this World Cup has a player who looks like he wants to be the one who wins it. I mean, if you look at France, they've got Mbappe. If you look at Argentina, they've got Messi. Obviously, England, we've got Kane and Bellingham. Now, yes, England are overly reliant on Kane and Bellingham, but at this point in time, they've provided all throughout the tournament. I believe they've scored 12 out of England's 13 goals in this tournament. So when you talk about being reliant on 2 players, Kane and Bellingham, they are England's main men. And I don't know, this game, it's been a bit difficult for me to reflect on it, because the performance is worrying. Like, if you're going into the semi-finals and the finals and you're coming up against Argentina and you're coming up against France, I mean, if you've got space in your midfield like we did in the Norway game, Messi is going to absolutely kill us in that semi-final. Like, you cannot give that guy an inch of space. If he's free on the edge of the box and we don't close him down quick enough, it's 1-0 to Argentina. Like, you have to be careful when you're coming up against these top sides. And I do think that England have looked a little bit vulnerable. The back four's been a bit shaky, and then with the injury issues that Reece James has had and that Jarrell Quansah has had the suspension as well, it is a bit of a pick and mix back four at times. Like, it's not a very stable back four. And I do think that's led to England looking a little bit vulnerable on the break, especially when you're coming up against players with pace. I thought when Noosa came on, he seemed to really, really pose a threat. The game, though, after England equalised, the game seemed to fizzle out a little bit. I do think that England, they just don't look like they've got that much control in any of the performances that they've put in this World Cup so far. And I do think that's concerning, especially coming into the later rounds. But we've got Jude Bellingham. We've got somebody who believes in himself that he is the man to take us to this World Cup. And to be honest, nobody can argue with him right now. This might be the best England performance from a player ever in one World Cup. Like, it's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, when you talk about classic England performances, you're probably thinking Rooney, Michael Owen, Harry Kane, of course, in the previous few World Cups as well. But he just wants to be the man. And I think in England, like, English people kind of have this disposition against people with self-confidence. You know what I mean? When someone's loud, when someone's out there, when someone's not afraid to tell you how good they believe they are, people in England kind of get a little bit standoffish towards that. But Bellingham believes in himself, and I think that's why people see him as a divisive character, because he's not afraid to stand up and say, yeah, I'm the man. He's not afraid to stand up and be like hated for what he believes either. Like, even coming out after the game when Tuchel said about he was disappointed with the performance, and I do think that is valid because I was as well. But even coming out of the game just saying, well, whatever, look, we've got through. Like, he believes that he's the man to take England to the World Cup. Not Tuchel, not Kane, not anyone. He believes that. And he does do that on the pitch. Like, when you've got someone who can produce like that, when you've got someone who on the biggest stage is not afraid to stand up and say, yeah, count me, that is when you know you've got a world-class player on your hands. And obviously, this is a future legend, like a legendary player already. I mean, look how young he is and look how many goals. He's got 5 goals in 6 World Cup matches in this World Cup, man. Literally carrying us through rounds easily on his own. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I do think he needs to get his flowers. Like, yeah, man, I think everybody needs to just sit there and accept who he is and say, look, he's going to be that way. You know what I mean? Because it provides, that's the reason why he turns up on the biggest stage every single time. It's because he's got the confidence in himself to know, I'm going to get a moment and I'm going to take it. Because so many players in world football who get their moments and they don't take it. But this guy, you trust him. You trust him as soon as he gets in a position. As soon as you need someone on the pitch, he's there. So, yeah, there are concerns. But Jude Bellingham, he's going to carry us through. And that's the only hope that I think we have. Bellingham and Kane, if we're going to win this tournament in the next 2 games, Bellingham and Kane are going to be the best 2 players for England. And everybody just needs to back that. Because I don't think that Tuchel has done the best job in terms of picking his squad. I do think that we miss Trent. I mean, I know a lot of people are divided on Trent when talking about how he is defensively. But I just think having someone with that ability to create a chance out of nothing, and he's still not that bad defensively. Like, let's be honest, I hate the Scousers and I'm not the biggest fan of Trent, but they still won a Champions League with him at right back. Like, he can still win big tournaments and he's capable of providing moments. And I think this is the reason why I love Bellingham so much as a player. I think when you've got players in your team who are capable of just taking a game away from the opponent at any moment, it turns you into a team that can win games where you're not playing well. And I think that's what England have done. Now, you can look at that kind of thing 2 ways, to be fair. You can look at England and think they've not played well, but they're winning games. And you can be worried about that because you're thinking, if these performances continue, we're going to lose. Or you can think, we've not played well, and eventually we are going to actually play well. But, I mean, yeah, I do think the squad's lacking in a couple of areas. I still think Maguire should have gone. I do like the midfield. I don't enjoy watching Madueke at right wing, and I mean, if you do enjoy watching Madueke, I think you need to give your eyes a rub, because this guy is so frustrating. But I thought Jed Spence had a better game when he come on as well. But all in all, they made it through, and that's what matters. That's what matters. Like I said, when you've got the match winners, you make it through. So yeah, I just feel like I'm a bit worried. I'm a bit worried about Argentina. I mean, look into that game. Messi's been in flying form. They beat the Swiss in the last round. Switzerland have had a really good tournament, though. Shout out to Dan and Doyle with a lovely goal in that game. But, Argentina are going to be a really, really tricky opponent for England. I do think, though, if you can get Rice and Anderson playing in midfield, I don't know how Rice is looking after he came off in the game. But if you can get Rice and Anderson in midfield against Argentina's midfield, they can physically dominate Enzo and McAllister. They can absolutely physically dominate in that midfield. And that can give England a chance. I was disappointed in Gordon. I really think with Gordon, he's very hit and miss. Like, sometimes he's electric. Like, sometimes he's absolutely unstoppable. And sometimes he's just frustrating. Like, I still think that Rashford can bring that little bit more quality. So I still feel like I would go Rashford in the Argentina game. But he is lacking defensively. But I want England to be a little bit more of a threat. But yeah, all in all, I mean, you can have your qualms with the performance, but like I said, England made it through. So I don't really have too much else to say. Like, England are struggling and fighting their way through this World Cup, and they are dragging themselves along to the semi-finals and maybe even the finals if they can beat Argentina. So let's hope, let's have our fingers crossed that they can get across the line. But thanks for watching this video. I just wanted to talk about the game, really. I mean, everybody went out. I had a couple of drinks yesterday as well, so I'm not not in the best condition this morning. But this has been a little conversation talking about England's quarterfinal against Norway. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hype, like the video, share with your friends. I've been Sick FC. Take care.
Black boys made the wave, these boys don't make a splash. Greedy with a ball,